In this day and age of the FGC, we live in a point in time where anyone can say anything, and anyone can decimate you for that, because 9 times out of 10 you're saying some stupid shit. Everyone thinks they're the world grandmaster champion of knowledge and they can never say anything wrong. Meanwhile, they want to point and laugh at those who play the funny character, or those who do the funny combo. When you complain about anything in a fighting game, you would have the Russian army, the people who built the Great Wall of China, the PlayStation 2 owners, and Iron Man all coming together to tell you, shut your fucking mouth. Nobody can come to a true agreement on anything, and why is that? What's the meaning of this? Here's the first story. I want to get this out of the way real quick. People will say, buff this character, make this better, he needs to be fixed. Hey, I get it. You want to play as the character you feel attached to the most. And you know what? You deserve that. Your character deserves all the buffs they need, because they matter, and you matter. I know it's tough to deal with a game developer that won't listen, but it's really simple to get what you want. First, you want to learn stop playing your shit fucking character. I got a buddy of mine who loves playing Falcon in Ultimate. He wants to do all the, the cool combos with Falcon, do all the crazy shit, but he won't stop complaining about him. But that's not on Falcon, that's on him. You can play trash characters all you want, but that's on you. You gotta deal with all the character's disadvantages, and if you're not winning with your character, switch to another character. It's that simple. Don't torture yourself by playing a character who won't get you anywhere and then going on to complain about why that character should be better. You play the character, you stick with them. The character's not bringing you results? Play someone else. You know why people are so resilient to switch off a character they like? It's because lower level players like to associate themselves so much with a character that it becomes their whole identity. And normally this isn't a bad thing. I like to bring up someone like Frozen Core, a guy who plays Eunice and associates himself a lot with his main Aurier, but at the same time he's a good enough player to make his association with his character justifiable. He doesn't just play Aurier because he likes the actual character, but also the character fits him and brings him results. But that's the thing, Frozen Core is good. Most people who associate themselves with their characters aren't good. The more you play a fighting game, the less you should consider your character as a character, and the more you have to consider your character as a function. You have to use your character's tools to succeed while working around their disadvantages, and playing them only because they look cool is a terrible idea. Of course, some people are smart enough to see these characters as functions right off the bat, but characters aren't the main reason why there's so many discrepancies in the FGC. It's because everyone has their way about playing a fighting game. Some guy would want to do all the crazy combos. He wants to play aggressive. He wants to run all over his opponents. He plays like if he doesn't whoop the fuck out of this kid, he's gonna suffer the eternal consequences for the rest of his life, floating around in purgatory without any means of escape. All because of that one match he played where he didn't put on the pressure. On the opposite side of the spectrum, you got a guy who wants to take things slowly and play defense. He will wait every second he has to in order for you to approach. By the time all the Harry Potter books have been read, you watched all the Marvel movies, you got your bachelor's degree, you settled down in a nice apartment building somewhere in Pittsburgh, this fool still hasn't approached you yet. He is a patient man. These two kinds of players despise each other because they both have conflicting ideologies, if you want to call them that. These two will hurl insults at each other, diss their moms, call them fat, whatever, because they don't like the style the other one uses. When in reality, you need both of these things to be a good player. Being overly aggressive means you're easier to wall out, and defense is usually harder to deal with, but being too predictable in your play can still screw you over big time. You can definitely prefer one style over the other and still find success, but you need to know both of these things to some extent if you want to go anywhere. In any fighting game, you're always going to have to deal with a playstyle that you don't like, and I'll tell you what else you got to deal with. Remember back in Ultra Street Fighter 4, Elena's slow ass get hit and heal yourself playstyle, or Sonic's hit and run bullshit in Smash 4, which is made even more grueling in Ultimate Online because you can barely react to it. Nobody likes a strategy they see as degenerate. A player might want to play a game that has no degenerate strategies, but that doesn't exist. Cheese is always going to exist in a fighting game, and nothing's going to stop these people from cheesing other dudes. You think people will stop cheesing even after that one online match they had with an angry dude who sends them salty message and death threats and finds their address and has a missile strike ready to oh shit. It's also worth noting that degeneracy is mostly objective. Like Ultra Street Fighter 4, Elena, and Smash Ultimate Online Sonic are borderline, and nobody's going to object to the fact that these characters and their strategies are bullshit, even some of the people who do this shit themselves. But what is actually degenerate? Actually, what is any of this? A while back, two of my buddies had a discrepancy over one of them claiming the other was playing campy, and the other guy took a video of a replay to let other people decide. I think this is some normal neutral game. I think many other people would say this is neutral game, but there's always going to be one person who says otherwise. How about this example? Every time my opponent touches my shield, I immediately up B and punish him for it. You might say I'm brain dead for spamming this move, but you could also say my opponent is stupid for continuing to hit my shield and not thinking, maybe I shouldn't hit his shield this time so I won't get punished. If I play the best character in the game, does that make me cheap? Does that make me carried? Does that mean I have no talent? Or do I play this character because they're really fun? You get what I'm saying here. That's why everyone has these arguments, because everyone has their own opinion, and people aren't afraid to say them. I'm pretty sure you're all wondering where I'm going with this, and let me explain. Like I said, people play fighting games, people hate them, but let me tell you something. Modern fighting games are pretty well designed. Except Smash Brothers. Every Smash Brothers has shit design choices. There's plenty of ways to play offense or defense, but the options to do so are never overwhelming and always have some kind of counterplay in check. The ways you can play Degenerate are kept to a minimum, but they're always going to be there regardless. Most are well balanced with plenty of character representation. Overall, they're well-rounded, well-designed games. But why do so many people hate Urian, or Joker, or fuck, who's the best character in Tekken? Even characters who aren't at the top of the tier list can get a surprising amount of hate from many different people. And you're never gonna get away from those who like to abuse strategies that you don't like. The reasons why people can't come to a true agreement on anything and always complain is an unwillingness to adapt. You see people who don't want to play a different character that would bring them better results, people who hate the strategies used by their players but don't think about ways to overcome them, and people who will call out those with a style they don't like, when, let's be real, nobody is honest in a fighting game. Now, what if you took all these issues? Alright, what if you took a bunch of crack? Lots of crack. Thousands of dollars of crack. So much crack that it made you believe your house was Peach's castle and you can jump into all the paintings. So much crack that it persuaded you to burn a bunch of shit in a frying pan and then try to connect speakers to it. So much crack that you tried.
Oh, you got your storm. That's the one you want to kill.
Cheap strategies all across the board. Your favorite character isn't viable? Absolutely not. You want to wait for a balance patch, do you? Huh? You think they're going to put a balance patch on an arcade machine? Let me take off a massive chunk of your health with this one 4-hit combo that I can loop over and over again. See this shit right here? You see that? Now you're stunned. Look at this health bar. Bitch! What's that? You don't like watching Sonic vs. Pac-Man because it'll take like 20-30 minutes? It's lame as hell. It's boring. It takes a long time. You don't like that? You don't like that. You really don't like that. You don't like that? You don't like that. You don't like that. You don't not like that. Welcome to movie night, boys. We got snacks. We got drinks. We're going to be here for quite some time. Completely broken design. Glitches that can't be fixed. Touch of death combos. Break your hands. Break your hands. Destroy your tendons. Now break your hands again. It piles on and on and on. The 2005 Hokuto no Ken, or Fist of the North Star, based on the anime, is a game where the meta is dominated by characters who can do 100% combos, which is the entire cast. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo is a game where the most optimal thing you can do in most situations is spam fireballs. Smash 64 has the most hit stun out of any Smash game and has no DI, meaning you get stuck in one combo, you die. Clearly there's so much shit wrong with older fighting games. It's incredible what kind of shenanigans you can find, but regardless of that, people love these games. People still play them. Certainly not in the same amount of numbers they do newer ones, but it's clear older fighting games still hold some appeal. Why? I think it's simple. Newer players coming into a fighting game have expectations. They want a fighting game that's fair and balanced. And because companies now have the technology to make any change they want via patches, you're more likely to see players express their opinions on things they don't like. But every fighting game is flawed in some form or fashion. It's impossible to make a fighting game that pleases all its players, but also 100% fair and balanced, and has no bugs or glitches. I'm not saying you can't hate a playstyle or complain about a character. I'm saying you can't hate or complain about something and expect to get better without overcoming what's bothering you. You can hate it, but you have to deal with it. In older fighting games, the issues here are so abundant. The games are full of bugs. The strategies people create are sometimes unbeatable. The amount of characters viable are almost completely one-sided. It's like the game itself is telling you, hey, this is bullshit. And you know how the players respond? Yeah, this is bullshit. There's no use complaining about it, so let's play the game. I don't like all the random Captain Corridors or the Iron Man Infinites or getting trapped by Spiral, but I love playing MSS. It's a fun team that allows me to pull off crazy combos, do tons of damage, I get to constantly put on the pressure, and yeah, my team is also full of shit. As stupid as it sounds, the game becomes way more fun when everyone agrees the ways they play are blatantly unfair and overpowered. That's the fun of playing an old fighting game, and it's why you never see people bitch about old fighting games. Don't get me wrong, there's still issues that people complain about, and are completely split on. Is Strider Doom cheap? Should wobbling be banned? Personally, in my opinion, Martha's fucking stupid. But that kind of stuff we'll save for another time. I think you see my point here. In an old fighting game, people are willing to look past the overbearing issues with them because the games are really damn fun. There's something that people see in older fighting games that others don't see in newer ones. Although the issues here are clear as day, it seems that these people don't care about fighting the same characters all the time because the way they serve as functions and what the game allows them to do are interesting enough for them to keep playing. You ask people, what's Marvel 2 and Melee all about? Most likely they'll tell you glitches, infinites, unintended mechanics, Falco. But you want to know what the people who play these games think they're all about?
Fuck that track! Fuck that! Yeah! Game over! Game over! Game over, nigga, press! Oh my God!
My God. Over till it's over. Never over till it's over. Match. We just got a real match. We just got a real match. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Justin Long!
9, 7, 6, 5. Oh! Oh! No! Oh! Wow! Oh! What the fuck?
There's definitely two different viewpoints here. Marvel 2 and Melee are pretty damn messy, but they're still played not just because they can generate awesome moments or the awesome communities that support them, but because they're really fun. People are willing to put up with their flaws if they can continue to have fun. Sometimes the game doesn't have to be crazy overridden with bugs just to be enjoyed by a small niche community, and that's what brings me to Third Strike. Throwing my blatant Melee bias out the window. I actually have a second copy of Melee here, so not sure what to do with this one. Do I just throw it out? Am I going to throw it out? I'm going to throw it out. Fuck it. I'm going to throw it out. Yeah. Putting my bias for Melee aside, I think Third Strike is one of the greatest fighting games of all time. You know, not even because it single-handedly rejuvenated everyone's interest in fighting games, but because, generally, it's a well-designed, solid fighting game. There's nothing absolutely broken or buggy or glitchy about it. Character balance isn't very skewered. There's definitely ones that suck ass, but they all function perfectly fine, unlike, say, Roll or Kirby. Combos feel incredibly satisfying to pull off, considering how many options you're given. And speaking of options, there's so many of those, whether you want to play offense, defense, do mix-ups, play mind games. Of course I have problems with it. I don't like Chun-Li, I don't like Ganaging combos, and Elena is stupid. But I look past that because I love Third Strike. I encourage everyone to get into it, alright? It's so damn fun. I could spend a whole ass video talking about this game. At the end of the day, no one's forcing you to play these fighting games. You chose to play them. You chose to play that character, learn these combos, and get fucked in pools. You might want to become power ranked in your region, but do you love your fighting game enough to do that? You gotta improve at what you're already lacking in, but the characters you hate, the mechanics you don't like, you have to deal with it all. You're a competitor. You can pray all you want to Sanford Kelly for patches, but if you want to get better, you need to work with what you got. What fun is a fighting game if there's nothing that stops you other than your own lack of skill? You're fighting your opponent and everything your opponent has to offer. If you can get past the things you hate about it, you're one step closer to getting better. And while you're here, you know, play some old fighting games. You can download Null DC in order to play Marvel 2 or CVS 2 online. Melee has Slippy 2.0 with rollback netcode. Melty Blood has a community build with rollback netcode. You can install Fightcade, which has CPS 1, 2, and 3, and Neo Geo games, meaning you can play the old school KOF games, Samurai Showdown, Street Fighter, SNK vs. Capcom, Marvel 1, Garo, all kinds of shit. Did I mention it's free? It's free? There's no money? What? Get yourself a fight stick or a GameCube controller. Play some old fighting games. Find what character you like to play as and do some crazy shit because... Fuck.